Good morning. Thank you for joining in our webinar today about Mary Baldwin's new strategic plan. I'm speaking to you this morning from the living room at the President's house. It's kind of a wintry day outside. There's some beautiful ice hanging from the trees, so we are here in the living room enjoying the warmth of the fireplace. It's also a morning where prospective students are visiting campus. Our student leaders, the President's Society, are taking families around campus even as we are having this conversation. So it's a great day here indeed. Today's webinar about our new strategic plan is part of our communication sequence about this exciting new direction for our future. I hope you received the copy of the strategic plan that was mailed to all alumni and alumni. Also, in the most recent issue of the Boldly Baldwin magazine, there was a dialogue and a summary about the strategic plan. And finally, I hope that you have been able to view the short video that I made about the strategic plan. So today in our conversation, I want to take this opportunity to hear your questions. I hope that you will join in the conversation. And I want to say as we get started that I'm very grateful to the alumni and the alumni board. They truly formulated this communication sequence. They are strong leaders and they're making a real difference for our college. Also grateful to many staff and faculty who have helped to make today possible, particularly our colleagues in institutional advancement and in information technology. So as we move into our webinar, I have Krista Cabe here with me. Krista is the Vice President of Communication, Marketing, and Public Affairs, and she is going to be reading your questions as they come in. I'm very grateful for those of you who have already sent questions in, and I'll let Krista introduce herself to you now.
Good morning, everybody. We're so glad to have you with us, and we look forward to the conversation.
So what I'd like to do for the format this morning is to spend just a little bit of time to begin with on a brief overview of the main points of the strategic plan, so that then we can move directly into the question and answer period. So our new strategic plan is titled Mary Baldwin 2020. And this little booklet rests upon 18 months of work, hundreds of hours of meetings, and the extraordinary work of everyone in this community. It's a document that everybody should be proud of because everybody had a voice in forging it. It begins with a compelling vision statement. In 2020, Mary Baldwin will be recognized as a distinctive small university, committed to academic excellence and united through a constellation of communities that empowers a broad range of learners to exceed expectations and pursue lives of purpose. This is our constellation of communities. As is appropriate, the residential college for women is yellow, yellow for our college colors, yellow for our beautiful historic buildings, and it rests on top of our constellation in pride of place, as it should be. Next, we have the adult degree program, and then the two newest members of our constellation and family, the Murphy-Deming College of Health Sciences and the College of Education. Then the Shakespeare and Performance Program. The program was started in 2001 and has already garnered a national and an international reputation. This is Mary Baldwin today. We are united in our mission, and our mission is rooted in the liberal arts. The plan carries this statement on page 6. As a small university, Mary Baldwin will be true to its historic mission in the liberal arts on 3 levels: disciplinary and interdisciplinary depth and breadth. And this is very important as seen through our commitment to our faculty. For example, over the past 5 years, we have hired 15 new tenure track faculty in liberal arts disciplines and 5 faculty tenure track in pre-professional programs. Our second principle is to pursue and attain empowering learning outcomes for our students and ethical citizenship and leadership for all of our graduates. We affirm with the values of the American Association of Colleges and Universities. And here's how they articulate a 21st century liberal education. Liberal education is an approach to learning that empowers individuals and prepares them to deal with complexity, diversity, and change, and prepares them with broad knowledge of the outside world, as well as in-depth study in a specific area of interest. A liberal education also helps students develop a sense of social responsibility. That's our engaged citizenry. A strong and transferable intellectual and practical skills in communication, in analytical and problem-solving skills, and a demonstrated ability to apply knowledge and skills in real-world settings. We believe that a liberal arts education is the best education still in the 21st century. We believe that our approach to liberal education will prepare our graduates for their first job, for their 10th job, to be the CEO, to start their own company. And most importantly, we believe that the liberal arts provide the foundation for a life well lived and engaged in a fulfilling life. Mary Baldwin 2020 has 4 key goals. The first is to create a sustainable synergy among academic programs. This means that the members of our constellation of communities support each other, that they are mutually advantageous components, and that together they are greater than the sum of the parts. Our second goal is to create the infrastructure to support our institution of 2020, and that has both tangible and intangible elements, meaning we will, of course, steward and maintain our beautiful historic campus and its buildings. We will support our academic programs. We will invest in our compensation for our extraordinary faculty and staff. And we will be able to support our students and our programs, faculty and staff, because we will achieve the components of financial sustainability that are set forth and detailed in the strategic plan. Through this growth in enrollment and in fundraising, we will be able to support our valued constituents for a thriving future. And finally, we will enhance our external funding. We're in the final phase now of our Ever Ahead campaign. We have raised just about $70 million toward our $80 million goal, and some important priorities remain for this final phase, most particularly to complete the renovation of the Pierce Science Center. Let me give you 2 quick examples about what the synergy means. Here is a current student in the Residential College for Women. So of what benefit will this constellation of communities be to her? So for example, she can in 5 years earn her bachelor's degree and a Master of Arts in Teaching or a Master of Education. She could apply for one of the spots reserved for our students in the Murphy-Deming College of Health Sciences programs. She could also earn a Bachelor of Arts in Theater and a Master of Letters in Shakespeare and Performance in 5 years. And she can benefit by taking online courses in the summer through the Adult Degree Program. So that's her synergy in the constellation of communities. Another example concerns a trip that our students took, an alternative spring break trip last spring, and there were several parts of our community engaged in that. Physical therapy faculty from the Department of Social Work, and staff from the Spencer Center for Civic and Global Engagement. They assisted more than 150 patients providing physical therapy while in Haiti. They worked closely with the community to bring to life through this beautiful mural the spirit of that community. And this is the transformative power of the synergies within our constellation of communities. The enrollment growth in the plan takes us from our enrollment when we were in the planning process, that is in 2013, when our enrollment in all programs was 1,716 students. And you'll see, of course, in these pie wedges as it represented, that the Murphy-Deming College of Health Science was not open, of course, in 2013. We will grow through the plan's initiatives to between 2,250 and 2,500 students by 2020. And here you can see the addition of Murphy-Deming and all other programs. And it's very important to realize that through this growth phase, the largest proportion of students in 2020 will still be undergraduate students in the liberal arts and sciences. So this is our new strategic plan, and it takes us first to a very important milestone. That is our 175th anniversary in 2017, our quarto septennial, if you can say the word. Maybe we'll all learn how to say that really well by 2017. But I think it also reminds us of our legacy and of the motto on our seal that we live daily, and that is not for the present, but for eternity. So that's our new strategic plan. We're eager now for you to continue to email us your questions and comments, and we can go ahead and begin. I see that we have some coming in, and we had some that several of you sent ahead of time, so we'll just move directly into our question and answer period now.
Okay, very good. The first question concerns the honor system. Of course, that's been historically in the residential college for many, many years. Does it apply to all programs or only to the RCW?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I think that's a really great place to start. The strategic plan affirms that honor is a core value of Mary Baldwin College. And yes, the honor code applies to every student in every program. Students in the residential college sign the honor pledge during their first week of classes in our impressive Charter Day ceremony. And the students in all other programs, including the new students in Murphy-Deming, do the same at their point of matriculation.
Okay, second question is about a graduation ceremony. Will there be one graduation ceremony for all degrees?
That's another important question. Yes, we cherish our commencement tradition of gathering as a united college on Page Terrace, of looking up and seeing the hill covered with the families in front of Hunt Hall. And I have to say, for me, if you ask me what the biggest magic was every year, there are so many moments, but it really is that moment when we all come out of the front door of Hunt, descend to the curved steps, and go down to Page Terrace. So yes, we will definitely be there together in 2017 when we'll hold the first commencement where our Murphy-Deming graduates will join all undergraduates and the graduates with our Shakespeare and education degrees as well.
Okay. This is about revenue. What new revenue will the 2020 plan bring to Mary Baldwin, and how will that revenue be used?
Yeah, that's a good follow-up to the little summary about our goal of financial sustainability. As we grow the enrollment from the 2,200 or 2,500 students, our net tuition will grow about $12 to $13 million. And that's very significant because you think our current budget is $27 to $28 million. That revenue will benefit all programs in the college, most particularly the residential college for women. And I also want to mention at this point, because I've been asked this question on other occasions, but no money supporting current programs was utilized as we founded and built the Murphy-Deming College of Health Sciences. We'll also continue to enhance our fundraising support. I mentioned where we were already in the Ever Ahead campaign, and we'll use this revenue to address our community, our compensation for dedicated faculty and staff, our academic programs, and our beautiful campus.
Mary Baldwin has a history of developing and running unique programs. Do the items in the strategic plan continue to make us unique in comparison to our competitors?
Yes, we are a college like no other. There is no other college or university in the United States with our constellation of programs. For example, we have the only all-female Corps of Cadets. No other institution in the world has a Shakespeare graduate program in partnership like ours. Nobody else has PEG. So our components are unique, and their synergies are unique. And no other institution lives the mission and the ethos that unites our components.
Okay, Mary Baldwin traditions. What are the strongest traditions in the residential college today? And to what extent are they observed or celebrated by students in other programs?
Oh, that's a favorite and fun question. I mean, first of all, the traditions are alive and cherished by all of the students in the residential college and throughout the institution. I really like it that traditions mark each season, and there are some special traditions for all 4 years for residential students. It certainly begins with our opening convocation and the candle lighting ceremony for first-year students. Apple Day and Founders Day are the October highlights, and then going along through Junior Dads and Family Weekend and Christmas Cheer, Kwanzaa, Spring Fling, and so many more. And Gladys and Squirrel Appreciation are present every day.
So this is related to that. Do the Murphy-Deming students feel connected to the rest of the college and its traditions and values?
I believe they do. Obviously, this is something that we very purposefully want to cultivate as these students move through their first inaugural classes. When we welcomed our first students in physical therapy and occupational therapy on June 15th, I spoke to them about joining the history and the community and what that means to be part of Mary Baldwin College. And Gladys was there. She was even sporting scrubs and wearing a stethoscope. Murphy-Deming students, they celebrated Apple Day and carved a squirrel pumpkin. And on the first day of campus, I greeted them right here in the hallway of the president's house. They came for a scavenger hunt, and then we all went to hunt so that they could meet the faculty and staff of the rest of the institution. And I've heard that even recently, some of the Murphy-Deming students are practicing with the Fighting Squirrels basketball team.
Okay. Looking over the questions here, since we're on Murphy-Deming, what was the rationale for establishing a College of Health Sciences, given that we did not have a history in that area?
Good question. Though, as part of our previous strategic plan, our 10-year strategic plan composing our future, one of the main goals was to launch new graduate programs. And we always do this to continue our cycle of innovation in our entrepreneurial way. So we studied many possibilities. The programs that we are launching now definitely meet an ever-growing need, both for our community and for our nation. I think that they fit very well with our ethos of compassionate change makers. And I know that our graduates are going to be outstanding healthcare providers, and they're going to provide investment that will support all programs in the institution. So it was a very careful and thorough study process.
Another question that just came in that has to do with Murphy-Deming. Could you say just a little bit more about the curricula and career paths? And so if you could just remind people about that.
Sure. So we do have our first classes in physical therapy and occupational therapy now, and we're recruiting the first class of physician assistant. They will come in next fall. And these three programs together work with one another to build medical teamwork in a way that's cutting edge and in a way that's as distinctive as you would expect Mary Baldwin programs to be. And that's through the curriculum of interprofessional collaboration. So they understand each other's disciplines. They work together. And what this means is that they're going to be prepared to work as collaborative team members to support all of us and provide outstanding patient care. So I think that is really the root and hallmark of the approach to the curriculum that's so special about Murphy-Deming.
Okay. Here's a question that was submitted ahead of time, and I know it's on many people's minds. So it seems like there's a lot of change right now. So why so much change now and all at the same time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I would say that all of us feel that same way from day to day, some weeks more than other weeks. But honestly, for 173 years, Mary Baldwin has changed as the world changed around us. And we've always remained true to our mission, but we have always continued to stay ahead of the curve. So it's true, we're living these changes now. We feel the pace of change personally. But I think it's important to remember that we're engaged in an evolution and that higher education is changing at a rapid pace. So many paradigms have shifted in higher education. So we are taking our strengths to stay ahead of that rapid change. And we have to evolve each of our programs. And we have to evolve the institution as a whole on a parallel path. And I think it's those things combined, building new programs, evolving programs, and the whole institution that makes it feel like a confluence of change right now.
Okay, another question about a different component of the institution we haven't said much about yet. Why is it important for Mary Baldwin to have a College of Education?
Yes, the College of Education formally opened as such only in August, but throughout our history, we have prepared outstanding teachers and educators as leaders. And you might not know that now 1/3 of our graduates each year intend to teach, and that we have a very distinctive leadership and inquiry, liberal arts-based approach to education. So the College of Education really makes this visible, and it also brings into one home education programs which used to be housed in at least 3 places. So we now have the undergraduate minor in education, the undergraduate major, which is new in liberal arts and education studies, our 2 current graduate programs, the Master of Arts in Teaching and the Master of Education. And this semester we are studying the feasibility of developing a doctorate in education. So it unites and really makes visible our strengths for what is such a significant emphasis of our graduates.
Okay, and we had a couple of very specific questions about sort of scenarios about who could take advantage of these education programs. One of them was about that liberal arts and education major, and just to clarify, that's something that one does as part of a baccalaureate degree. So if you already have a bachelor's degree, you wouldn't necessarily redo that major, but we do have the post-baccalaureate teacher licensure program that is available for somebody who wants to go into teaching as a career change. So here's another question. I am a Mary Baldwin alum who is working in education. I am interested in pursuing a graduate degree to advance my career. How can I do this through Mary Baldwin if I do not live in the Stanton area?
Well, that's a great question. And I hope whoever asked the question is listening, because I hope that you might want to do this. You could certainly pursue your graduate degree in education here in Stanton or at one of our 11 regional centers. And in the 2 graduate degrees in education, the coursework is largely, not wholly online, but largely online. And the in-person classes are offered either here on campus and in some of our regional centers. So it should really be quite doable for anybody, particularly in the Commonwealth of Virginia, to pursue our degrees.
Okay, about the adult degree program. There seems to be a move towards more online programs. And so when you do that, how do you preserve the personalized feel of a Mary Baldwin education?
Yeah, that's an important question. You know, of course, we're very proud of our legacy in the adult degree program. So we will keep that personalized approach front and center because it's what distinguishes our adult degree program from many, many other competitors. It's a highly crowded market for adult and online learners right now. But I also want to say that we take great care not only in continuing to provide a dedicated advisor for each of our students in ADP, but that when we design our online courses, we design interactivity and a sense of fostering personalization and community right into the online classes so that they can be highly interactive, so that our students can interact in that space together and they can interact with their faculty member.
Great. I have two related questions about the size of the residential college for women and the admissions process. The first is, why is there not a growth goal for the residential college where there are growth goals for the other programs?
That's a good question, and whenever I have dialogues about the strategic plan, that's one of the first things that we talk about. First, I think it's important to stress that we want to maintain what's been the average size of the residential college now for several decades. That is between 700 and 750 women. And that we want to continue to attract and support the students who are the very best fit for our outstanding education. And this means that we want to focus on fit and success for every woman, not on numbers. I mean, is modest growth fine? Do we hope for growth? Yes, if growth comes, we'll have some modest growth. But we didn't want to base also the business plan for Mary Baldwin 2020 on that. So it's the emphasis on the quality and the success of students.
And so the second question, which just came in a few minutes ago, is related to that, finding those best fit students. What plans does Mary Baldwin have for the qualifications for admissions applicants? How do we make sure we find those best fit students?
Yeah, that would probably be the source of a whole other webinar that we might want to have, because it's a very interesting process. I'll just divert quickly to say that we have a really wonderful new vice president for enrollment management. Her name is Lois Hicks-Williams. She brings a great deal of experience to us. So it's a many-faceted approach of personal visits, of the materials, of speaking to our students, of our counselors traveling, of continuing to be in the schools to work with the guidance counselors. For any of our alumni who want to help, we are really trying to strengthen and tap in on it. Often you say that you would like to do that. So Lois really wants to help us engage our own graduates. I mean, you're our best testimony. So there are a lot of activities, constant year-round activities starting in their freshman year of contacting our prospective students.
Okay, again, another question that came in relation to some of the comments earlier. You mentioned reserved slots for Mary Baldwin residential college students or undergraduate students in graduate programs. Does this apply to alumni?
I don't think I've ever even asked that question myself. And I don't have Linda Stanford here to answer it. And we do have one of our graduates in the inaugural occupational therapy program at Murphy-Deming right now. I'm quite certain that Vice President Stanford would say that all of our alumni would be welcome to apply.
Thank you. So without the growth goal for the residential college, how does the college ensure that the residential college for women doesn't fall second or take second place to the other programs as they grow and the residential college does not?
I absolutely understand that question. I know it's on the hearts and minds of residential college graduates as we talk about the plan and as you read it. You just have to affirm that the residential college is the heart and soul of this institution. It's where a majority of our dedicated faculty devote their scholarly passion and convey their expertise. And we will be having some strategic plan initiatives to enhance the residential college. I just mentioned all too briefly probably that we're establishing a college to career center now. We'll call it the Vantage Point. It's going to be in Wenger Hall. And this will help our students translate their excellent liberal arts education into career paths. And we want help from all of our alumni and alumni in mentoring our students. That's going to be a very key part of making the College to Career Center successful. So you can help us support the heart and soul of the institution.
This is about infrastructure, a very specific question about whether there are plans to remodel the interiors of the residential buildings.
Yes, there is a specific statement in the strategic plan about enhancing our living spaces. And in part of what we're doing right now in this first phase of the strategic plan is taking a new look at our campus master plan. Right now we're doing a thorough building by building assessment of our historic campus, but we certainly have prioritized and called out in the strategic plan the revitalization of residential spaces as a key goal.
Okay, and I know that there's one question that we have all heard a lot, and it came in today as well, and that is, will the residential college go co-ed?
No, the residential college will not go co-ed. Really, that's what this whole plan is about. Keeping the essence of our women-centered heritage, keeping a residential college for women.
That's, thank you. So does the college have plans to attract and retain quality students of color?
Certainly, we are so proud of our diverse student body and to our commitment to inclusivity. I often say that our students here are in a microcosm of America. What amazing citizens are we going to have? Now, relevant to that question, I did attend President Obama's White House summit in December, and one of the key emphases in the call for participation in that summit was a commitment to supporting women of color who would graduate in STEM degrees. So we will certainly do that by enhancing scholarships and undergraduate research opportunities for women of color, but we're also doing the same. We'll provide that same level of enhanced support for all of our students pursuing STEM majors.
Okay.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, next question is about academic programs. What are the plans for new academic programs in the next several years? I actually got 3 questions on this, so I'm going to ask them all at once, and you can respond together, I think. So what are the plans for new academic programs over the next several years? Specifically, is there perhaps an opportunity for an undergraduate program in dance and choreography or a master's in business?
Mm-hmm. Well, we will certainly continue our spirit of innovation. In the strategic plan, specifically, the new programs that are called out and that we're actually in the feasibility study for right now are the doctorate in education, which I mentioned earlier, and a 4th graduate program for Murphy-Deming. But we will certainly look at other distinctive programs. Our approach to this is always, where we believe we can set ourselves apart from other programs, do some research about whether we think the program would attract students and enhance and complement our mission, and think about what resources we would need to launch an excellent program. But we will certainly continue to entertain all the best ideas.
The plan calls for an update to the campus master plan. So what is that?
I guess when you really think about it, that's kind of a not obvious word if you're not side of it. But the campus master plan is the overall plan for all facilities, mainly on our historic campus here. So it looks at all 54 acres at every building and considers the opportunities that would help us achieve the strategic plan, that would just improve our campus. For example, the plan calls for potentially having a green space behind Hunt, which would really help to unify the flow and the upper and the lower campuses. So it's a long-term, holistic approach to facilities on our campus.
Okay, and related to that, same portion of the plan says that deferred maintenance should be prioritized. Can you tell us a bit more about where you are with that?
Yes, I just mentioned briefly in answering a previous question that we're currently assessing building by building all of our campus facilities. And then the Board of Trustees will study that report in April and begin to prioritize and address issues of deferred maintenance. But we do have the challenges of a beautiful historic campus. Women have been walking through the administration door since 1844. So we have these same challenges as elsewhere, and as you know, we don't have state funding to assist us in doing that. But the Ever Ahead campaign has helped us with several phases of investment in restoration of our campus buildings.
Great. What about technology? How does technology play a role in accomplishing the strategic plan?
Yeah, technology is very important. It runs through so many aspects of so many initiatives in the strategic plan. I mean, I mentioned, talking about the adult degree program, that technology enriches our pedagogy, that we'll need to have excellent online pedagogies and tools like flipped classrooms where lectures are posted ahead of time. Students watch them before class, and then all of class time can be devoted to discussion and to problem solving. And in order to support the growth, our enrollment growth, we will be adopting a new IT enterprise system for the entire institution starting this summer. This is overdue for us. It's absolutely necessary and will be a big undertaking, but we'll be launching that in the next few months.
Okay, so here's another question that just came in that I think is a valuable one. Where do you see the biggest risks in the successful implementation of the overall strategy?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, first I think it ties back to that question about why does everything seem to be changing so much all at once? And I answered that by saying that in this environment of higher education, we have to keep up with everything and work on all parts of the institution. So therein, I think, is the greatest risk to the plan, is that it's just we need to continue to be vigilant to adjust our plans as all these changes in higher ed continue to swirl around us. And we have to keep our own sense of priority. People work hard. There are a lot of things to keep track of right now. So I think it's just supporting, managing our pace, approaching things carefully, and understanding that we are undertaking a great deal.
Okay, so here are a few questions that are related, and I'm going to try to combine them into one, because there have been several comments and questions about what we mean by rebranding the institution within a small university structure. So could you talk a little bit more about the specifics and the process there?
Sure. I guess when you really think about rebranding, it's that sense of we. And when I mentioned earlier that the constellation is greater than the sum of its parts, it's articulating our DNA, articulating who we are together, not by stating we are this program and that program and the other program. And this is a very involved process. You know, it involves research, it involves discussions with all parts of our community, but it's going to give us, I think, a refreshed sense of pride and a refreshed way to express who we really are. And all those messages will really help us with our recruiting and being known for our distinctive structure.
And as a follow-up to that, there have been a number of questions. Is the name of the institution changing to Mary Baldwin University, and who will make that decision?
The Board of Trustees will make a decision about that at their meeting the first week of February. Now, prior to that, and I hope that those of you watching will look out for this, we'll conduct a poll of all alumni, as well as all faculty and staff, and pull that together so that the trustees will have the benefit of all of your input on this very important issue.
So some people have heard about a survey and the focus groups that we did last year. Could you comment on what they were about and how people were selected to participate?
As we started this dialogue about the name of the institution, the board asked us to begin to do some investigation about a potential name change. And one way we did that was through a research project. This was over the course of about a year and a half to assess the perceptions of our students and community and of our alumni of all programs. So as part of that process, an alumni survey and focus groups were selected from random samples. So not everybody received that, and I know we've got a lot of questions about that. So that's how those focus groups were started in that first phase of research.
Okay, so this is a timing question about the name change. Why has the issue of a name change been raised right now, and what would be the rationale if the trustees choose to do that?
Yes, that's a very, very important question. Well, let's start by remembering that we've already had 3 names for our institution, and that each of those names really reflected who the institution was at that time. So changing the name to university now may be a natural progression as we've started to award doctoral degrees, and also to remember that we have been classified nationally as a master's level university since 2001. And it would certainly allow us to preserve the identity of Mary Baldwin College as the historic women's college, while potentially providing an overall name that encompasses all the components in our constellation. I think it would also be advantageous to us in helping with marketing and recruiting, not only for adult and graduate programs, but I think potentially also for the residential college as well. And when we did that poll in that year and a half worth of research, 2/3 of our residential students supported the idea of the name change. So I think I'd say something a little bit more reflective at this point. I know that our current name has great emotional power. You know, it reflects your strong connection, our alumni's strong connection. And there is an emotional and a rational question here, no doubt. This is a matter of the heart as well as a matter of the head. And we will never let go of the values and heritage of this institution, but we need to do what is necessary to position it for success and to preserve the wonderful residential college. And last thing I would say on a complex emotional issue is that the Mary is important, the Mary matters. Mary Julia Baldwin was a real woman who made a real difference, and she deserves a place alongside all the great male founders of great institutions.
Okay, we are about out of time, but I've got a couple more questions here that I think I think you can answer fairly quickly, and I would like, with your permission, to go ahead and ask them.
Sure.
Here's a question. With inequality in education nationally, what is Mary Baldwin doing to help those students with potential that may lack the skills to achieve in college without extra support?
It's a real issue for many students, and we have a variety of support programs, especially for, I'll talk about the residential students since we don't have a lot of time. I could really talk about how that's done in each section of the college, but for the residential students, as you know, it comes in a personal support network, so that women have peer mentors, that they have their gateway advisors, they have their faculty advisors. So we have a personal support network. We also have special learning skills opportunities for students and a very robust peer tutoring. And we have approaches to courses for students to take their own pace. But you know, most importantly, that's what our incredible faculty do. They help meet each person where they are. And that's, so many of you know that in your life. So we're still doing that.
Okay, this goes back to the computer question, asking you to explain a little bit more for alumni who graduated before the advent of the digital era. How do you maintain the efficacy of education and individualized attention in a virtual classroom as opposed to face-to-face?
I'm not going to say that they're the same experience at all. You know, there's absolutely nothing like a community of learners in a space, talking to one another, holding books together, enjoying that. But I do believe for our digital natives, for the students who are coming to college now, the way of thinking, the way you learn, the way you pace your time, you know, it's a more second nature than it was for some of us who didn't have the internet till well into my career. But by designing the courses, and we have dedicated individuals who go to a faculty office when a faculty member is beginning to formulate and put together an online course, not to design the content of the course, but to try to enrich the experience online with resources and those kinds of interactive chat rooms that I was talking about. So you take a great deal of care to make an online course as engaged as possible, even though it is a somewhat different experience.
Okay, two more questions, and then we'll wrap up. You already mentioned something about the status of the Everhead campaign, so question did come up. But a related question is, in the goal 4 of the strategic plan, there is not a specific statement about growing the college's endowment. Is this implied in the goal of financial sustainability?
Yes, yeah, excellent question. I mean, certainly the endowment is truly the perpetual foundation for any college. And it's not showing up in the level of detail in the summary and the strategic plan, but absolutely building the endowment and stewarding the endowment is a key part of this plan. So that means prudent management. We were going to draw 5% or less from our endowment, and to keep gifts to our endowment continuing as a priority.
Okay, and the final question. If and once the goals of the plan have been achieved in 2020, how will it feel to be a Mary Baldwin student or faculty member, especially here on the main campus?
That's a great place to land. Well, let's try to envision that. For everybody listening, I want you to stop just for a minute, wherever you are. Maybe you can even shut your eyes and try to bring into the life of your mind the view toward the hills if you're standing outside Hunt Hall. So just kind of get that in your head for a minute. So I would say in 2020 and beyond, that beauty, that spirit, the faculty who inspire you, the lifelong friends that you forge will be the same. As you're standing there, our beautiful buildings will be lovingly cared for. Our new campus will be thriving, and our place of distinction in higher education will be widely recognized. Our spirit will be intact. Well, thanks for all of those questions. I think that's really terrific. I don't know about for you, but this is my first experience in doing a webinar like this. It's such an important time in the history of the college. I'm again so thankful to the Alumni Board for bringing this idea to us and for supporting us as we go through this. So please continue to stay in touch. Go back and watch the video if you haven't. We've received also written comments that we will reflect upon and that we will share with the Board of Trustees, as we will the poll that's coming. So thank you for taking part of your wintry Saturday morning to be with us. I've enjoyed it so much. Thanks a lot.